Some people go to court for justice. Others go to court for reasons so unbelievable, you'll think they made them up. But every single case in this video is real. Real people, real lawsuits, real judges. And as we go deeper, the cases don't get normal. They get crazier. 30. Stella Liebeck. In 1992, Stella Liebeck, a 79-year-old woman, spilled McDonald's coffee on her lap while sitting in a parked car. The reason she sued was because the coffee was served at an extremely high temperature, hot enough to cause third-degree burns within seconds, which it did. She suffered severe injuries and required skin grafts. Initially, she only asked McDonald's to cover her medical expenses, but they refused to settle reasonably. The case went to court, where evidence showed the company had received hundreds of prior complaints about overly hot coffee. The jury ruled in her favor and awarded millions in damages, later reduced. The case ended up changing safety standards across the fast food industry. 29. In 2007, Nebraska State Senator Ernie Chambers filed a lawsuit against God, claiming that God was responsible for natural disasters like floods, earthquakes, and hurricanes that caused human suffering. His reasoning was to demonstrate that the legal system allows lawsuits against anyone, even a divine being. Chambers sought an injunction to stop God from causing harm. The court reviewed the filing but ultimately dismissed the case, stating that God could not be properly served with legal documents. The lawsuit ended as a symbolic statement rather than a legal victory, but it remains one of the most unusual filings ever made. 28. Roy Pearson, a judge, sued a dry cleaning business after they lost a pair of his pants. Instead of asking for a reasonable replacement cost, he demanded $67 million, arguing emotional distress and violation of consumer protection laws due to a satisfaction guaranteed sign. The case went to trial, and the cleaners defended themselves by offering compensation, which Pearson refused. The judge overseeing the case ruled against Pearson, stating his claims were excessive and unsupported. The lawsuit ended with Pearson losing the case and damaging his professional reputation. 27. Benjamin Carruthers sued Red Bull because he believed the company's slogan, "Red Bull gives you wings," was misleading advertising. He argued that the drink did not provide the enhanced performance or energy levels implied by the marketing. The case gained attention because it challenged a long-standing advertising slogan. Red Bull chose to settle the lawsuit rather than fight it in court, agreeing to a multi-million-dollar settlement that compensated customers. The case ended with Red Bull maintaining its branding but adjusting expectations about its claims. 26. Dylan Schofield filed a lawsuit against Subway after discovering that some foot-long sandwiches measured less than 12 inches. The reason for the lawsuit was false advertising, as customers expected a literal foot-long product. The case became a class action and forced Subway to address its production standards. However, the court eventually ruled that slight variations in bread length did not constitute meaningful harm to consumers. The case ended without major penalties but highlighted how even small discrepancies can lead to legal action. 25. Ana Ayala sued Wendy's after claiming she found a human finger in her chili, which she said caused emotional distress. The company launched an investigation, and authorities soon discovered the finger had been planted intentionally. Ayala's claim turned out to be fraudulent. Instead of winning damages, she was arrested and convicted of fraud-related charges. The case ended with Wendy's clearing its name and Ayala facing prison time, making it one of the most infamous false lawsuits ever. 24. John Leonard attempted to claim a military Harrier jet after a Pepsi commercial jokingly listed it as a reward for collecting points. Leonard gathered investors and submitted an official request for the jet. Pepsi refused, stating the ad was humorous and not a real offer. Leonard sued, arguing it was a legitimate promotional contract. The court ruled that no reasonable person would believe the offer was serious. The case ended in Pepsi's favor, but it became a legendary example of advertising gone too far. 23. Gerald Mayo filed a lawsuit claiming that Satan was responsible for his personal hardships and suffering. He argued that Satan's actions interfered with his life and caused damage. The court examined the filing but dismissed the case because Satan could not be located or served legal documents. The case ended quickly, but it remains one of the most bizarre examples of attempting to assign legal blame to a supernatural entity. 22. Jonathan Lee Riches became famous for filing thousands of lawsuits against a wide range of defendants, including celebrities, politicians, and corporations. His reasoning varied, often involving unusual or exaggerated claims. Courts consistently dismissed his cases as frivolous or lacking merit. Despite never achieving meaningful legal victories, his actions highlighted how the legal system can be overwhelmed by excessive filings. His lawsuits ended in dismissal, but his notoriety remains unmatched. 21. This case began when a macaque monkey named Naruto took photographs using a camera owned by photographer David Slater. Animal rights groups sued, arguing that Naruto should own the copyright to the images. The reasoning was based on the idea that the creator of the work holds ownership. The court ruled that animals cannot hold copyright under current law. The case ended with Slater retaining rights, and it became a landmark decision in intellectual property law. 20. Richard Overton sued Anheuser-Busch because he believed their advertisements falsely promised excitement and social success from drinking beer. He claimed he experienced none of the advertised benefits. The court dismissed the case, ruling that the advertisements were clearly exaggerated and not meant to be taken literally. The case ended with no compensation, reinforcing the idea that marketing slogans are not contractual promises. 19. Sheepy Halak sued a weather service after relying on a forecast that predicted clear skies, only for it to rain. She claimed she became ill and lost income due to the incorrect forecast. The court considered her claims and awarded a small amount of compensation. The case ended with a minor victory for the plaintiff, showing that even unexpected situations can sometimes result in legal accountability. 18. Sir Giorgio Clardy sued Nike, claiming his Air Jordan sneakers contributed to violent behavior and should be considered dangerous. His reasoning was that the shoes somehow influenced his actions. The court dismissed the case quickly, stating there was no evidence linking the product to criminal behavior. The case ended without compensation and was widely viewed as an attempt to shift personal responsibility. 17. Todd Remus versus photographer. Todd Remus sued his wedding photographer for missing key moments during the ceremony. He claimed the lost footage caused emotional distress. However, by the time the case was heard, his marriage had already ended in divorce. The court dismissed the case, stating the damages were unclear and speculative. The case ended without compensation, adding an ironic twist. 16. Hubert Blackman versus escort service. Hubert Blackman filed a lawsuit claiming an escort service failed to deliver the full experience he paid for. He argued breach of contract and sought significant damages. The court reviewed the claim but did not award the requested amount. The case ended with little success for Blackman, highlighting how unusual agreements can still enter legal disputes. 15. Gayain Zakrabov versus estate of victim. Gayain Zakrabov filed a lawsuit after being injured when a person struck by a train was thrown into her. She claimed damages from the victim's estate. The case drew attention due to its unusual circumstances. The court ultimately dismissed or limited the claim, as liability was unclear. The case ended without major compensation. At this point, you've seen real lawsuits involving coffee, weather, food, and even supernatural claims. And somehow, the cases ahead are even more unbelievable. If you're enjoying this, hit subscribe right now, because the top half of this list takes things to a whole new level. 14. Maurice the Rooster case. Residents sued over noise caused by a rooster named Maurice. They argued the crowing disturbed their peace. The court ruled that rural sounds are part of cultural life and dismissed the complaint. The case ended in favor of the rooster's owner. 13. Starbucks ice lawsuit. Customers sued Starbucks claiming iced drinks contained too much ice and less beverage. They argued this reduced value. The court ruled that ice is expected in such drinks and dismissed the case. It ended without compensation. 12. Peter Wallace versus Kelly Smith. Peter Wallace sued Kelly Smith, claiming she used his sperm without proper consent leading to pregnancy. He argued emotional and financial damages. The court ruled against him, stating participation was voluntary. The case ended with no compensation. 11. Subway knife incident. A customer discovered a knife baked into sandwich bread and filed legal claims. The reason was negligence and food safety concerns. The case was taken seriously, and the company investigated production practices. It ended with internal changes and potential settlement. 10. Banana peel lawsuit. A woman slipped on a banana peel outside a store and sued for injuries. She argued the store failed to maintain safe conditions. The court ruled the store was not responsible. The case ended without compensation. 9. Orange cone lawsuit. A woman tripped over a safety cone and sued for damages. She claimed the cone created a hazard. The court ruled the cone was itself a warning and dismissed the case. It ended quickly. 8. Jeffrey Klein and Brett Birdwell versus property owner. Two teenagers trespassed onto private property and were injured. They sued the owner for unsafe conditions. Surprisingly, they were awarded damages. The case ended with public debate over liability laws. 7. Food contamination lawsuits. Various plaintiffs have sued companies over foreign objects in food. These cases are based on safety violations. Many result in settlements or product recalls. They often end with companies improving quality control. 6. Alan Heckard versus Michael Jordan. Alan Heckard sued Michael Jordan claiming he was constantly mistaken for him, causing emotional distress. He sought millions in damages. The court dismissed the case due to lack of evidence. It ended without success. 5. Red Bull expanded claims. Additional plaintiffs joined claims against Red Bull for misleading advertising. These cases reinforced earlier settlements. Most ended through settlements rather than trial. 4. McDonald's ice cream machine complaints. Repeated customer frustration led to legal complaints over broken machines. While not all became full lawsuits, some claims were filed. Most ended without major rulings. 3. Wedding cake lawsuit. A couple sued a bakery over a poorly made cake, claiming emotional distress. The case resulted in a settlement. It ended with compensation but also public attention. 2. Fast food addiction lawsuit. A plaintiff sued fast food companies claiming addiction and health damage. The argument was that companies contributed to unhealthy behavior. The court dismissed the case, emphasizing personal responsibility. 1. Jonathan Lee Rich's final case. Jonathan Lee Rich's stands at number 1 due to the sheer number of lawsuits he filed. His reasoning varied widely, often lacking evidence. Courts consistently dismissed his claims. His legal history ended not in victory, but in notoriety. From suing coffee to suing God, one thing is clear. The courtroom isn't just about justice. Sometimes, it's where reality becomes stranger than fiction.